Hey there, and welcome to another tips and tricks video. Hope you're all having an awesome day so far. I'm going to show you guys how you can easily memorize and learn the infamous 9 times tables. Don't worry if you find the 9s a tough group to crack at first, you're not alone. Since 9 sits so close to 10, it can often be confusing trying to recall them quickly, especially when first starting out. Luckily for us, the 9 times table actually follows a very interesting and easy to follow pattern. All we'll need for this trick to work is 2 coloured pens, preferably red and green, and also a scrap piece of paper to practice on. Let's not waste any time and jump straight into the trick. The trick begins by writing out in uniform rows the full 9 times table, but without the answers at the end. All of that good stuff will come later on. Here, I'll show you what I mean. We put the 9 first each time to help the pattern stand out. So the first row will be 9 times 1, and then directly underneath we write the 9 in the same place, but this time change the 1 for a 2. We continue this all the way down till we have 10 rows of the 9 times table, all written out, going from 9 times 1 all the way down to 9 times 10. Okay, now this is probably the hardest part of the whole trick. So once we have the times table sheet all written down in uniform rows and columns, we can begin cracking the 9 times table and uncover its fascinating pattern. So, we start with the first row, which is 9 times 1. We already all know that 1 times anything will just equal itself. So, we just need to think how many 1s fit into that number. So here we write 9. To really show the pattern in full effect, we're going to write a 0 before the 9, and for the sake of teaching you guys at home, I'm going to enhance these first digits in red and make the second digits green. So try and do the same at home when following along, because this is how we will observe the pattern. Okay, this is where it gets exciting. We don't need to know anything else about the 9 times table. All we need to do now is underneath the first red 0 is go up by 1 each time. So for 9 times 2 it'll be a 1, and 9 times 3 will be a red 2, all the way up to a red 9 for 9 times 10. Okay, great. So already we can see as the 9 times table works its way up, the tens column increases by 1 each time. Since adding 9 to a number that has a units column bigger than 1 will take it into the next tens group, and it's always going to be 1 less than the original multiplier. For example, 9 times 6 starts with a 5, and 9 times 8 starts with a 7. Nice. Let's go straight back to the top and have a look at that green 9. This is where it starts to get interesting. Instead of increasing this green 9 by 1 each time, we instead go the other way and take away 1 each time. So count back from 9 all the way down to a green 0 to make 9 times 10 a red 9 and a green 0, 90. And there we have it, the easiest possible way to write out the full 9 times table up to 10, and in under a minute, and with quite a jazzy pattern too. If you just spend a few minutes each day writing out this pattern, it'll soon be stuck in your head, and you'll be able to recall them pretty easily if asked by a friend or a teacher. But we're not finished there with the tips and tricks. Here's another cool way we can double check in our heads that we've got the right answer for one of these multiplications. If we get asked on the spot to answer, say, 9 times 8 in our heads, we might already remember that because of the red pattern, it starts with a 7. But we might not have a pen and paper on us to write out the full pattern. But we can do this extra little trick to help us out. The answers in red and green for each times table actually add together to make the number 9. If you don't believe me, choose one and try it. Let's go back to 9 times 8. So we know it starts with a 7, so consequently we have to think what can be added to 7 to make 9. Yep, that's right, 2. And there we have it. Now we know 9 times 8 equals 72. And 7 plus 2 is 9. I'll do one more just to prove how powerful this is. So, we choose 9 times 4. We can see that it equals 36 by looking at the left. But do they add up to 9? They sure do. 6 plus 3 equals 9. But hey, we aren't even finished there. Here's another smaller trick that can add on to the red and green pattern we started with. We can use this one to show off to our friends and teachers, and I'm sure that it will blow their minds when you do so. Let's get a fresh new page with the full 9 times table all written out, just like we had before. This time, using our magical mathematical wands, we are going to cast a splitting spell and split these rows in half, in between the 5 and 6 times table, like I'm doing here. This spell that we've just cast is actually an extremely magical mirror spell in disguise, and this is how it works. The equally spaced matching answers on either side of the mirror line are actually flips of one another, or reciprocals in mathematical language. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Let's have a look at 9 times 4, which equals 36, like we've seen before. We can see that it is 2 away from the mirror line, so if we now go 2 past the mirror line downwards, we get 9 times 7, which equals 63. And as you guys can see, the 3 and the 6 in the answers have just swapped places. I know, right? It's pretty magic. Okay, one's at the ready. See if you guys at home can find the corresponding multiplication to 9 times 3. Let's have a look. We can see that 9 times 3 is 27, and also that it's 3 before the mirror line. So, now we go 3 below the mirror line and see what the matching answer is going to be. We get 9 times 8, and would you look at that? 72 is a perfect flip of 27. Great job, Achievers. We've learnt a ton of new tricks today, all based around recalling the 9 times table off by heart. Now, if you take the time at home to memorize each of these little patterns we've covered, you'll remember the 9 times table easily and retain them forever. Well done, guys. You've now conquered the 9 times table. Be sure to like and subscribe for regular maths tips and tricks videos.